RX5 time. So next build's starting. We've got one more that's starting on Monday. This one we're just in. It's a left-hand drive car. It's for a French dealer. So we've just done the pedal box in here. We've got the billet pedal box. Fuel lines are in. Brake lines are all in. Brake switches in. Master cylinders in. Floor pan's been bonded and sealed and riveted, and we always use the closed head rivets on that, guys, you know, so it's, you know, it's bang on. But nice billet pedal box in this. So say it's going to be a left-hand drive. Just a roll bar on this. Fuel tank's ready to go in. Rockers have gone on as well. Front rocker systems on, and the braided hoses in. So you're going to see this progress now. So it's a Mazda build. So I haven't done one here, I think, shown you for quite a while. So it'd be nice to see how that progresses. On with the French one, we showed you the brake lines, fuel lines, etc. were in on this one. We've also got the engine and gearbox, which we've done a few bits we had to do, button that up, alternator, brand new alternator belt, and a few bits. But you'd seen that was detailed a couple of weeks back now when we started doing that. So front rockers are on, got your Protect shocks on, push rods. Something new we've done, you've been crying out for. So now these are left and right handed threaded, so you can adjust your height of the whole car. It pushes out on here, you can see there's a gap's getting bigger. So when you crack these two nuts, you can see that's a left handed thread and that's a right handed thread. When you crack them, you can adjust your ride height without having to take off either end of the joint. You can see that's tightening up, and that basically raises everything up. So yeah, something you've been asking for, so we've done it. Original design was always two right-handed threads, so we've made sure that we've got one left-handed thread in there for you. So yeah, all new chassis will come that way now, and you can, if you want to, retrofit them afterwards, but you mean buying obviously a new left-hand rose joint and a new push rod. But yeah, that will help, you know, in the adjustment of the vehicle. So quick rack on there, aluminium housings that hold them in, etc. as well. It's all the Mazda front uprights, etc. We've got the discs and brakes and bits and that to fit next, but engine's in, that's the main thing. And then we start with finishing off sort of wiring and things like that's got to be done. It's a left-hand drive, so the pedal box is on this side, obviously, making sure that we've got the accelerator on the right side. Fuel lines are in, etc. Rear shocks on. £250 on the rear and £325 on the front. We run as a Mazda's. Poly bushes in, etc. So braided brake lines that are in for the Mazda. They have a banjo fitting on these ones, front and rear, for the standard brakes. Yeah, standard brakes all round, and then we do a wheelwood upgrade on the front if you're looking for that type of thing. But yeah, floor plans all fitted and bonded in as well now. So yeah, we'll crack on over the next week. You'll see this sort of progress as we go along. Right, over in the build area, as you know, last week, Mazda cars we started on, the two of them. Left-hand drive, right-hand drive, etc. Engine and gearbox, as you know, went in last week. Front end's on. We've done the front uprights. Brake discs are on this week as well. They're on both sides. Suspension's on. The rear diffs in here, and the fuel pump bracket. We've got the rear uprights, all new bushing pressed into these as well. Obviously new suspension, all Protex all round as well. That's all gone in this week. Prop shafts in as well. Just the final button up to do on that. Steering column we've put in temporarily. That's a mock-up what we've done at the moment, just to temporarily put that in. We're going to be fabricating a custom exhaust for this rather than their standard one, because it's left-hand drive. It's got to have an exhaust system that's different, because normally down in here, just there, is where the system normally sits. So right where the master cylinders are. So it's going to have a custom manifold made. That's why we've mocked that into there for now. So it'll get made shortly as well. So looking good, ticking along quite nicely. We're doing some refurbishment, some other bits and bobs that need to go in on this car. And then we start on with, well, it's all new alternators and everything else that we've put onto this as well. So she's all ticking all the boxes. Build time in the build bay area here. Mazda RX-5, left-hand drive car. As you can see, it's come from the bench. It's now into a full roller. We're going to be doing a custom exhaust on this now. Normally we use a standard Mazda exhaust for our systems, because it's beneficial for you at the customer, which comes out, which normally hooks in here. We have a link pipe that comes out. obviously, as you can see, we've got a few things in the way now, which is the steering link bar, master cylinders and everything else. So we're going to have to make a custom exhaust for this. So the next job we're heading off is getting the exhaust system made. So it's on a roller for that reason. So now we can link it all up. We've already mounted the silencer bracket here, so we can put these all silencers all been positioned up, so we know we've got to go into. So all the custom stuff for the Mazda left-hand drive, that's being knocked out. Well, we'll show you that once it's done, but that's the next job on this, because now it's a full roller. We've got the steering column mocked up, so everything's just a mock-up on this at the moment on the steering side of it. That's going to be sorted out, but the rest of it's in, the whole rear end's in, etc. as well. So that's making good progress, ticking along quite nicely. It's just the left-hand drive exhaust system we need to sort out. So this is our Mazda RX-5 chassis, stainless square tube chassis, but left-hand drive car. We started the process a few weeks back on this, and what we had to do was deliver a left-hand drive exhaust system. So obviously the Mazda stock system, you can't use it. It would interfere with the steering column and also the pedal box down here. So this is the pedal box here. So normally a stock system would sit and be there. It would turn out from there on a stock system, and it actually exits here. So it's a 4-into-1 system. There's arguments for 4-into-2-into-1 and 4-into-1, which is better. These generate a little bit more power normally, and you get a bit more torque with 4-into-2-into-1. But this is going to be a standard engine anyway. So a stock system, full stainless steel, 4-into-1 into the silencer. Now, it's not just for a left-hand drive. If you want to go a full stainless steel system, you're not doing turbo at a later date or anything like that, this will fit as well. So you don't have to use a standard manifold if you don't want to. And these are going to be available, well, immediately now. All the jigs are now done. So they're available if you want a nice brand new system rather than using your donor manifold. But we do the donor manifold system. So I've got that over there, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what we've been on this week, front brakes, so it's got stock Mazdas on this rather than the Wheelwoods that you saw on that, stock Mazdas. Front end's finished up pretty much as well, so calipers on front and rear. Left-hand drive bulkhead panels, guys, as well. Now, as well, obviously swap it over. They're available as well. And we've been on with the rear end, so fuel tanks in, strapped in nicely. Rear discs pretty much on now, and brake calipers are basically last buttoning up to do on that. Handbrake cables are in. Fuel filter, fuel lines, DAF bracing and that, and then the fuel pump bar. This is a stock tank, stock pump, and then we do the alignment on the bracket there. I won't pull that out, it's no point, it's in there. That's a modification, that's in the game, that's in the manual, it tells you how to modify the stock pump, and then you can join that up. So that's all in, this corner's all buttoned up as well, handbrake levers in, and cable, centre cable, prop shaft. So that's all been done on this week, and we'll continue on this build as well. But yeah, we sort of wrinkle finished all the engine. Probably remember it from last week, or a couple of weeks ago. Wrinkle finished all the engine, a bit more detailed in there as well. So that'll crack on. This one's going yellow, I think, as well.
I think it is.
It is. Popular colour of choice. That one's going orange though. Definitely going orange. So yellow again on this one, so you'll see this progress as well. So
I had somebody call me this week and they said, my yellow car is a very unique one. I've not seen any others.
Well, there's 3 in the workshop. But yeah, and Chris has got one, another Chris has got one. So yeah, seems to be a hot colour at the moment, and they do look good in yellow. Yeah, they really do. They stand out really well. Right, let's talk about exhaust systems. We spoke about the Mazda one. So if you're running the stock manifold, then we do the link pipes. This joins up, other way around. So that would sit there. This is exactly where it would sit, in there. That's why we can't use that with the floor mounted pedal boxes on the left-hand drive. But that's a system that joins your stock manifold. I can't get it in there, unfortunately, chap. That would sit in there, right where that would be there. So, but yeah, that's available, and that's a stock manifold off the MX-5 link pipe system that we do. Then later on, you can go turbo. We love the turbos. So that would be a modified system that would run off the turbo. This would sit in this section here and come off the back of the turbo. So that's for the Mazda. So if you're going turbo at a later date, you run your standard manifold with the link pipe, and then you can always swap it over. Right, so just so you can get clear on the systems, this is the stock manifold MX5 here with the link pipe already attached. I should have showed you that from over here earlier. So this is the system stock. As I say, we can't put that in because of the master cylinders, but that's the first sort of way of intro into it. Or now we do the custom stainless steel 4-into-1 system that's basically bolt on and ready available. The only thing we do is change the studs to bolts on that system instead of that. That's the only thing that's different. But if you're going in A, you're staying in A, you can bolt that on. If you look at this system and you want to go turbo down the route later on, then that's the way to go. Now, plenty of systems that we do out there. We've got here, we've got an S2000. Nice system, 4-into-2-into-1. For your S2000, Honda S2000, cracking engine, got one myself, and then that comes with the cat link pipe as well, and then you can run that into whatever silence you want. That would sit in this side of the vehicle.
Carbon one?
Yeah, carbon one, you know, really nice. If you don't want to run a stainless, it's a carbon one's a pretty killer bit of kit, and they weigh half the weight. I think they're 4 kilos. Then we've got stuff like this. Any hazard a guess before I even call it out? It goes on this side, guys, so what do you reckon? Pinto. There's a Pinto system. We ain't done one of them in a very long time, but that's a Pinto system. It's still available. There's still cars out there running Pintos. There's no problem at all. And then we do, I haven't got one here, but Hayabusa, of course. The R1, which is a system that's here. There's another one here in parts, sections. That's your R1 system as well, with the Lambda sensor in there as well. Hayabusa systems as well. So there's plenty of choices for your engine and options. So if you want to go turbo later date on a Mazda, you can keep your standard manifold and then run that link pipe down as well. Mazda RX-5, left hooker. Welcome to the bird's nest. Yeah, so what have we been doing on this week? Apart from the obvious here we started on. So radiator's gone on. 40mm radiator, alley one, that's gone on. We started connecting some of the hose pipes onto this as well. It's a 120 watt fan on the rear of that as well that we run. That's been fitted on. We've finished some of the brake lines, braided hoses at the front. The rear has now been pretty much there, buttoned up, we were saying last week. So handbrake calipers on the rear done, braided hoses in, handbrakes finally fixed and done and crossed, fuel pump mounted in, fuel lines ready to go on, and we've been running all the loom really, all the loom fixes. So you can just about see in here there's a little saddle bush that we fix all the way through the chassis. We prefer to use saddle bushes rather than P-clips. If you ever need to get access to your wiring loom, it's a cable tied on, you can just click it off again and reuse it, so it's much easier. So we run them all the way through the chassis, here, down the bottom, up, all the way in these points here, right the way through to the chassis up here. And then we've got a bulkhead panel, aluminium one here, which we use for our ECU and fuse box. Now, in the manual, it shows you mounting this fuse box, which this is the standard Mazda loom, which we have to then doctor. Now, that's all again in the manual to tell you which wires to cut out of this bird's nest, because there's a lot to come out. You've got stereos, electric aerials, electric windows, you know, all of those little things that you just don't use on these cars, all gets getting rid of basically. Now we used to mount this fuse box up here, so we've now looked at it and thought, well, for access might be easier then if you want to cut a hole in this panel and mount it this way, and that way you can pop that off from underneath the dashboard there and get you all your fuses rather than taking the bulkhead off. So that's maybe another top tip, it'll be an option. We'll put that in the manual as well and show you that. So as I say, that's why we keep the manual live rather than a paper document, and that way we can update it if there's a better solution and we find it going forward, then we'll throw it in there, and you know, it makes life easier to build, and that's what we do, rather than a black and white one that gets thrown around and then it's no use to anybody because it's been changed 10 times, version 4.0, etc. So that's why we do it. And the manual is available to download, isn't it, online?
It is. It's all available online for every builder.
Yep.
They'll get the links with a welcome email.
Get links with the welcome here. We do charge for it initially for anybody that's wanting it. I think it's about £50 charge, but if you buy a kit and etc., we refund that anyway. We take that off your purchase price. So it is free, but it's just out there on there. But it's just on our website. Just jump on there. It'll be available just straight out. So that's where kind of we've been on with this week with the Mazda car. The left-hand drive Mazda RX-5. Well, we've been on with the wiring. You say the difference between the two from the Omex system and this. We have been thinning it out and starting to lay it all up and get this into some kind of groups here this week. In fact, it's mainly been today we've worked on this. So plugging in the ECU is here. We've got to finish that off. We've got to chop some brackets down, and this is the standard instrumentation which we do the dashboard for. That's all plugged in ready. So what we'll do is we'll trial fit all of this in and then fire the engine and make sure it all works before we button up all the electrics as well. So we've been tinkering away with that, some coolant hoses, and all the electrical tie lines are in. So we saddle bush here, all the way under the chassis rail. Got a fitting here, a fitting here, fitting here. Every 200 chaps really, just to secure it for IVA. And then these little saddle bushes. Then you can always take them off with a cable tie later on. If you're P-clipping, it's hard to get back and checking any wiring issues and testing circuits. So saddle bush, cable tie, much easier later on. And then we'll do things like the EGR valve blank. We'll probably put that in there as well and get that all blanked off and tidied up. So it's kind of wiring. Unfortunately, does take a while. It is a bit of a bird's nest, this looking, but it will start to dial in. Brake line pots are in as well. We've put those in. So we've got the clutch, which don't need it, but then you need these low-level warning floats in for your front and rear master cylinders. Again, that's for an IVA compliance thing, really, on a warning. So it's kind of where we've been with the Mazda kits. Right, Mazda RX-5 left-hand drive car. Been on with this week as well, tackling all different parts of different cars and kits at the moment. So I've done a few bits on this one. The exhaust system, we know about the mock-up. We've put this back on because we've been making the templates for the dimensions, so that will hit the manual. So if you're going left-hand drive or you're going normally aspirated anyway and you're going for the new stainless system, we'll have the whole cut-out dimensions in the manual. That'll be hitting the website probably next week by the time we update it all, etc. So that one, we've done the template for it. We've mocked up the steering column on this one as well because we're going to be moving the car. The throttle, the pots are in for the brake reservoirs, and the low-level caps are in. These are silly little floats that we have to put in for IVA. A little low-level warning for your pot. The pots are all in for them. We put in the link pipe from the rear to the manifold in. That's gone in. What else have we been on with? Throttle cables in. That's all in. Clutch braided hose is not connected that side, but it's all on this side. That's all made. It's a longer clutch hose, obviously, because if it's a right-hand drive car, you've got a very short hose, only like 300mm long, while this is like 1100mm long. That's gone in as well. Where are we going? Moving. Don't look at that. We'll tell you about that in a minute. We'll go back to the rear of the car. Main fuel lines in, returns in, handbrake cables fitted up and all buttoned down as well. Braided hoses have gone in as well. Tanks all strapped up. Into a full roller, so it's all got brand new calipers, brand new discs, into a full roller. Pedal box once that's all mounted here. So basically this is going to head off to Neil's. For over Christmas, he's got the joy of finishing this, tidying this Bursars up, which we've started on. The gauges we put in temporarily, all the ignition here. And what we do is prove the concept, make sure it works, fire it up, and then we'll start tidying it away under the bulkhead panel and everything else. Then it will come back into this in the new year. It'll come back into the showroom here, and we'll start bolting all the bodywork on then, really. So, because all the mock-up's been done, everything else, few connections to do at the front end, all the hoses, most of the hoses, and we'll have to run up the coolant hoses up to the header tank as well. So, that'll head off. Right, over at the another RX-5, left hooker as we know, been on with this during the course of the week. Obvious things are side panels all fitted, all trimmed for the holes for the wishbones, and they've all gone back in. All the front ends done, calipers, etc. all in now. These are all just clamped up because they've been bonded on as well. Front and rear tub is in as well. That's gone on and trimmed. So that's in that section as well. Fuel tanks all plumbed up, all fuel lines finished, etc. Roll bar trimmed to modify and fitted in. Then finish off the last bit of the wiring and started her this week, actually. Yeah, the big news is, yeah, she runs, she starts, she goes. So we've got a video clip, I think, of that running from earlier in the week with that side panels on. So we'll cue over to that now. First start in the RX-5 left-hand drive Mazda 1.8 engine. So yeah, she runs. That's great news. We've got a Super Mad Max exhaust on here at the moment, which is the left-hand drive one which clears the steering column. And wouldn't that be awesome going down the road? blow your brain. But no, that does fit down at the side here with the silencer, etc. But yeah, so we do a decat and a cat pipe again in that as well. And then we on with the rear wings. All the lights are wired in. Everything's here that's hanging over. They're all in, ready, and the electric's all working now. So super happy that we start progressing with this quite quickly now. See some changes. We've got some half of the engine, sort of most of it all plumbed up now. Few bits to do and fettling to do. Some wiring, obviously we've got to tidy up the rest of this wiring, but we wanted to prove the concept, make sure this is all running with, obviously when you're stripping a donor loom, you want to make sure, you know, you do the process and you strip it all, you start it, and then go back in, check, and go back in again afterwards and double check to make sure that you haven't got any loose connections as well. So different with the new looms, they're plug and play that we do, but obviously with these you're stripping out quite a bit of things like, you know, electric windows, the aircon stuff, electric aerials, all the radios, stereo bits and that, you're tearing all that out. So you just want to make sure you don't interrupt with anything else as well. So of course you're running all the standing immobiliser, which is off the key, and the box that's under here for the standard order immobiliser that comes off, it's that one there actually, comes off the standard Mazda as well. So you just want to make sure you don't do anything that would interrupt that or cause a signal breakage. So yeah, that's cool, happy with that, progress, looking good. Right, here over at the left-hand drive RX5 car, a few little bits done on this one as well this week. We know we had the side panels bonded on last week. Straps have come off, that holds that in place. Rear tub has been bonded on as well now. We've got the very nice black aero fuel cap on there and all plumbed in, etc. as well into the fuel tank. That's all done. We've got the clear lens pack, light pack. The rear wings have been put on, the P-trim inserted. We've got the fog light with the bracket in there to make it compliant for IVA. And also guys, don't forget this trim if you have these lights. This sharp edge does fail IVA, so this little bit of trim that's in here needs to be there because that ends up being more than a 2.5mm radius edge. Got the rear tail light, number plate light in, and the same with the reverse light again, trimmed up as well, the same. The clear lens pack, these have got the coloured bulbs inside. So you can do the coloured lens if you want, which is the orange and red, but I quite like the clear lens, adds a bit of a more modern touch. So rear arch has gone on, bits and bobs like that's gone on it as well, and a few other little niggly bits and bobs, but she's coming on like nicely. Yellow car again, same as the other two, but you know, it polishes up so nice. I do like the yellow, especially with the black, and as soon as you stick some stripes on it. So old roll cage is fully bolted in as well now, that's all done, etc. as well. So we're ticking along quite nicely. As you know, it all runs and starts and everything. This one we just got to start once we finish off this end here. This is pretty much the back end done. We'll now draw our attention next week to the front end. Interior panel set will go in, all the coolant lines will go in, the intake system will be done, so we'll crack on with that tomorrow as well, and hopefully should be looking like the other RX5 that's out there and rolling as well. But this is running standard management, so this is got the standard Mazda ECU in here, which is, you know, is emissions, look, it's emissions compliant. It's meant to run 138 stock. If you want to upgrade, we do the Omix one, the 600, that gives you a bit more horsepower, but also keeps within the emissions limiters as well. So cool, it's looking good. Progress. Right, left-hand drive RX5 time. Quite a bit of changes on this week. Nose cones fitted, bonnets fitted. Got a few little bits to do with the bonnet catches. We've got the indicator extensions and the carbon effect indicators in the nose cone there, all fitted. Headlights are in. We've done interior panel set. It's been bonded in. The cameraman might zoom round in there in a second and have a look for you as well. So they're the alley skinned interior panel kits, all bonded in. We're just making the holes, etc., and modifying here for the steering column. We've got to do a few other little bits, but under the SX scoop, as we call it, we've still got wiring to tidy up, as you know, but we're fitting other bits under here, starting on with the plumbing and a few other little bits and bobs to do as well. We know it all runs and starts, so that's kind of one of the job, but the main thing was getting the scuttle on, getting the body panels fitted, trimmed and modified, and then get the shut lines nice and clean, which is, we're happy about that now. These shut lines and these new bonnets, when you push them into place, get a really nice clean line right the way through there now, no gaps, etc. So super happy with that. So yeah, little bits like fitting the fuel cap and the hoses is done now, and the whole back end is all lit up, which I think we showed you last week with a clear lens pack, which is again IVA tip if the camera zooms in around here, and this is part of the video, but someone did ask about it, so I'll explain again that these fog lights, the standard ones, make sure you, this 2.5mm radius, that you rubber edge it, and also there's a little bracket in here to make sure that it's 90 degrees to the road. So something like that is spacing it out as well. So yeah, we can crack it on with that little RX5, and we'll go on to the next one. Peter's on here working on the left-hand drive car. Air filter being put in, and the bracket, you're making a bracket there, aren't you, Peter? Yeah, so brackets being made for the air filter to support that and the airflow meter. You can carry on, Peter, it's fine. So wiring here, centre tunnel bits in done as well. All the instrument gauges have been bonded in, so we know we did the dashboards with the instrumentation in here as well. So it's sort of standard what we do for you. The cost-effective solution, should we say, but I quite like it. I think it looks quite sporty, really, and they're really easy to see, and it's a cheap solution. So tunnel tops in as well. Obviously it's a left hooker, and then we carry on with that, and we've got to just do the cat pipe on the side here as well. So yeah, we carry on, see what one's going on next. Right, left-hand drive RX5 car. A few big jobs on this week. You've probably seen in the media as well. Seats have gone in. These are on adjustable seat runners, so a nice little slider on these, so you can adjust your seat as well. All the IVA trim's gone on, and rubber trim for the seats, etc. Branded FIA approved roll seat belts even, guys. That will do for now, won't it? FIA approved seat belts, they're in. They're 3-inch harnesses as well. They've gone in. A few bits in the centre tunnel we was doing. Also the rear boot cover, roll cage final fixings gone, fuel tank final fixings done, and as tight as a drum. Very nicely done. Rear boot cover, which we're doing, as you know, the black vinyl or the carbon effect, which is on that car there. So that's gone in as well. But I do like these. It neatens it up. It's so light, so light. Do like that. So a few little bits done, and then a few other little bits of wiring that was finishing off as well. So we'll crack on with the centre tunnels being fabbed or mocked up now, as we know, and then we can get that in. And then final install with wiring and bits and bobs, steering column shroud to go in the header tank as well. So we'll crack on with that. Bit of a shorter week with Easter and that, but we'll crack on. Right, over at the RX5 left-hand drive car, doing a few bits on this week as well, tidying up some little odds and ends on the rear end. Got the front wheels, as you can see, mocked up, and we put them on to do the wing stays. So these have been painted and powder coated in that now, so they're ready, prepped and bent. Now, I do believe there's been a bit of a discussion on certain forums about this and the ways to bend them all. Now, obviously, you can see that we do get a 45 and a 45 angle. This cameraman can zoom in and see that for you. So we've got roughly, I don't know, 15 to 20 mil here before you come up to the bend that's 45 and flat across. Now, there's a lot of discussion about this and how you do it, and I've got big arcs and everything else. So let's go over to the vise, show you how we do it. So it's a bit odd. But most people, I think, are either clamping it in like this, where you've got the tube and it will rock on it. We always put ours in with a flat bar into the side, then pull it out. So we put this bend first, so it bends round, and then we put this part in and do the second bend. A little bit of heat does help, of course, helps with the bending of it. We do put some heat in it just to make it a bit simpler, but you can either, a rubber mallet or something like that is very suitable. But yeah, make sure if you put it side on in, roughly 15 to 20 mil here, get the first bend in, and then this will be obviously long and straight normally. That then goes into the vise, and you can do your second 45, and then once they're on, you can assess it. But always allow for, when you're on the top here, we always allow sort of roughly, it's about 15 mil underneath there. Good tip is if you've got any spare fuel pipe, we lay 2 bits of fuel pipe over the top to get some idea of where we want this to bend to be, but it's roughly 50, depending on the aspect ratio of your tyre. Some people might be going 13s with 185s, so your bend is slightly different to a 195, 55. It's a much higher profile, so the clearance is not the same. So the bend here will be different in terms of distance. So lay 2 bits of rubber over. You can then mark across a flat line with a ruler. So if you have going over, ruler across, you'll mark your actual wing stay there, and you'll know where your first 45's got to be and where it's got to finish. Gives you an idea, but there's 2 that I've already done, and they're the wings and fiberglass bits that's going to be going on it. Left-hand drive RX5 here, great little car in the yellow. Been on with a few jobs, so you can see the wheels are fitted front and rear on this, and we've done all the arches. These are all bonded on. All the indicators are fitted in for the IVA compliance, so you've got the 5-degree angle. We've fitted all the wiring in. We've actually done it slightly differently on this. We've run the wiring along the braided hose here and spiral wrapped it just to keep it all the wiring rather than run it along the wishbone, just to keep it a bit neater and tidier together as well. So maybe that's an option for you guys, and we'll probably put that in the build manual as well to show you. But if there's a better way of doing it and we can find a better solution, then we do. Bonnet and the nose cone, all that's been lined up and fitted, all the bonnet catches now. So we've got the SX bonnet scoop on there, looks super tidy, nice clean fit, grills and everything's going in. Obviously it'll have a mesh on this, all the indicator extensions are in pretty much now. We're just going to chuck some fuel in it maybe today and just give it a start and check and run up to temperatures as well. RX5 left-hand drive car, a few bits done on that this week. Wiring is been cracking on, tidying up, etc. That's all running now. We did have a little connection problem, which was the alternator wiring to charge the battery, which near all then resolved, so a simple fix. And then we put the bulkhead in, the battery mounting bracket, the alley header tanks come in, and we just got to finish the plumbing for that now. The scuttle's all taken off, ready to just bolt that in etc. as well. So, but this all starts and runs and everything now, so we're quite confident that we can finish all the cooling and the plumbing. We're standing over the RX5 here, left-hand drive car. More progress being made, as you can see. It's on its boots and on the deck, which is nice. So running, a few little tweaks to do. We've had the bulkhead all put in, the wiring's been buttoned up underneath here. All the new battery terminals put in as well, and wires, etc. The OBP based header tank that we run, that's all plumbed in, all the plumbing's done, all the final plumbing, just got a filter to put on this as well. Peter's tweaking the back end here, so an adjustment on the wings and the alignments and everything else. But this is running the Toyo R888, which we spoke about a minute ago, guys. So we're buttoning it up. This is ready to fire up almost now completely and start running and do testing and geos. We've just got the column and the steering wheel, all the dashboards fixed in. We've just got the final shroud to do on here with the boss and the steering wheel, because we've got a nice little suede steering wheel ready to go on, all badged up, look, all MK logoed. Cool, that's going to be on there. Good look, killer in Manila. So yeah, we get all that buttoned up, and we also, I don't know what he's putting here, real wheel bearings. We've just got a few little tweaks to do on this, on the butt. So we're starting to button this car up now. It shouldn't be long away to get this ready and to do the final preps, a bit like the white car for IVA. So if you want to know more, and we're finishing this hopefully next week in the stages of running it and etc. Tune in next week, you'll see the progress and fire this bad boy up. Okay, so left-hand drive RX5 car has come out of the build bay here into this area. Looks like it's stripped down again. You think you're going backwards to go forwards. But, well, why is it on this Geo? We're on with the Geo now, starting to set up, getting it all the Geo done on this car, starting to get it ready for IVA and IVA prep. Seats out at the moment, so we've got a couple of bits to do in here, but they're only loosely bolted in. A couple of bits to finish off. So we'll start going through all the trim bits now, all the Geo, so the camber, the caster, all of that, guys, tracking, make sure it's all in alignment then, and then we can crank it over, start running it up to all of its temperatures, and then give it a small road test and everything else, make sure the brakes work and all of that, final little bits and bobs. So it looks like all the nose cones off, and it's easier when we're doing the Geo on this that we're doing on the nose cone here for us. It makes life easier. But yeah, we'll crack on with that. So this is super close now to getting ready for IVA prep. With applications, I do believe, is applied for this, so we're just waiting for the dates. Right, so left-hand drive Mazda MX-5 RX5 car based, you know. So IVA date's been set for this. I think we've got a couple of weeks time before that hits for that, but we're just, again, it's been out of the build area in here, Geo's done, as you know, guys. It's all been run up to temperatures now. We're doing that, and now we'll start fitting the final bits, which is wing mirrors, centre tunnel to go in. All the wiring and lights are done. We've got the rear wheel nut bearings as we put on here to torque up the last thing and everything else. And then a bit of a road test, as we'll do on both of these. We'll do a short road test, make sure the brakes work and everything else. They've all been bled, but it's best to put a quick 5 or 10 miles in it, give it a quick road test to make sure that they're all up to spec and standard, and get a nice feel to them, and hopefully that, you know, everything works, steering works, nice and light, self-centering working on the steering. So if you're obviously turning the steering wheel, you want them nice to come back, and that's done with a caster, which is done through this section here. So we've adjusted all the caster to make sure that these self-center nicely as well. So, but the one thing I will say is on your rack, make sure you haven't got anything stiff on the steering rack, or the joints are nice and loose, because that can really hinder the self-centering and that as well. So yeah, so hopefully you'll see that in the next, well, if you subscribe, you'll see when we get down the IVA test centre on both these cars in the next couple of weeks, and they'll be after their new owners. Right, we're standing over the left-hand drive RX5 car here. You probably see the other week we had 2 cars in for IVA on the same day. It was the first for us. We normally don't do 2 in one day. Lucky for us that the IVA was, the VOSA was able to accommodate us. So yeah, we've got 2 passes on the same day. Well, this is one of them. We're now just going ahead. The customer wants fitted a windscreen, the wipers, the washers and the doors now, because he's going to do a bit more touring than originally what the car was going to be done for. So we've just fitted all that in, and you've got things like, you'll see them here. I haven't fitted the wipers, but we'll flick them on. You can see they're moving round. Off and on. They've got intermittent on them as well. So we run the wipers onto there. That will fit the screen and the doors. That'll be finished probably by tomorrow, I reckon. Now that should be finished, and then we'll finish buttoning this car up. It's got some nice carbon stone guards going to be going on as well. These are our nice quality carbon stone guard protectors that will fit on there. Basically, I think it goes, the contrast looks good actually, really good. Quite like that. Gives it a little bit of protection. So both of these are done. We're just waiting for registrations now and a few little tweaks and upgrades on this one, as same as on the S2000 car that we're going to talk about in a bit. Right, standing over the left-hand drive, because people have been asking, do we do left-hand drive cars? Yes, we do. This is a Mazda-based car, left-hand drive, but we can do other models in left-hand drive, bike engines, etc. It can all be done. But as you know, this went through IVA just over a week or so ago, passed on its first outing. But the customer wanted also a few upgrades on this, so we've put a windscreen on, wipers on. It's got the sort of GT pack really. Doors have gone on, and a washer bottle, which is a squirty for your windscreen. That's all gone. And now it's going to have a final few. Some it's actually had stone guards fitted on, and the mirrors fitted to the doors rather than on the scuttle. That's been done. We've done the geo on it, full geo, properly done again now, all the ride height. So now we just do. I've put a couple of miles on it now, do some test driving, and then a few talking up of checking of nuts, get a few miles on it to make sure it's all good to go, and it'll be rolling over the borders to France, I do believe. So yeah, looking forward to that. Car looks great in the yellow, anthracite wheels, sitting on 195 55s all round, on R888 R's, awesome tyre. So yeah, another one. Looking to get out there. All the branded harnesses, it's standard interior really, but looking great with the Mazda clocks in there. Standard light pack on the back here that we've got with clear lenses. Yeah, great car. Looking to see this out on the highways in France. I'm standing over the RX5. Let's start off here, shall we? Well, we're buttoning the car up really. As you know, it went through IVA, and it's had its little stripe pack. Bumblebee stripe pack put on. Very popular, the yellow and black, and I can't say, does look good. Carbon stone goes, black stripe kit, GT pack on it. It's the left-hand drive going out of France. So a few little test drives to be done on it, which we're doing now, ironing out any little niggly problems. That's the whole thing. And then, yeah, we'll phasely send it over the borders. So yeah, it's looking killer. The back in yellow does look good. As soon as you put these stripe packs on it transforms the car. Obviously, we're doing it in a few different colours. So if you want to transform your car, you know, it'd be a red stripe, orange stripe, black stripe, blue stripe, green stripe, etc. We do them and they're available.
forgiven for thinking that I'm actually driving in the south of France with the beautiful sunshine just through these trees. But you're wrong. Oh, I mentioned south of France because I'm sitting on the wrong side. I wanted to do this video to show you that we make a left-hand drive Indy RX5. We do a couple of left-hand drives cars. This is your standard Indy RX5 with the Mazda clocks, which are right where I need them to be. Mazda steering column with the indicators right where I need them to be. Windscreen and doors, touring pack, GT pack, right where I need it to be. This is bang on. So just cast your mind away for a minute and just think that we're cruising in the south of France. But we're not, sadly. We've just got a little bit of a break in the British weather, which is nice. I thought I could pretty much drive most things, but I've got to be honest, this is taxing me driving a left decker on the wrong side of the road. Super quiet in this car, super comfy, just can't get my head around being on the wrong side of the car. Now the reason why we built this one is because it's going for export, it's going out to France. So we've got a Mazda 1.8 engine in this car. It's just a standard RX5 with all the standard RX5 bits in it, but it's a pretty nice vehicle. I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. The difference between the standard RX5, the right-hand drive, and this particular car is just the exhaust manifold. There's a slight change in that, but this is the catalytic converted manifold, so that we can pass the emissions in the relevant countries. A super little drive, very pinpoint, straight on the button, points exactly where I need it to go. I could probably get used to it over a matter of time, but I think if you're out in a hot country, wow, I mean, that's just going to be lovely. European, Americas, it's going to be a really, really nice experience. It's super weird trying to change gear with your right hand. It just feels all different. I know you get used to it. It sort of makes me feel like I'm on holiday actually driving this. So with the fiberglass bucket seats in this car, which is again another little comfy number, and actually not too bad, quite nice. Let's turn the taps on a little bit. I mean, she's still peppy. That's at the speed limit. I'm quite happy with that. Doesn't take much to get up to the speed limit, even in a little 1.8. This is the 140 brake car. Absolutely smashing. Absolutely smashing. Real nice little drive, that. Yeah, quite like that. Quite like that a lot. I sort of got lost a little bit in the moment. I keep doing that. I'm supposed to give a review on the car. Comfy steering wheel. My elbow's nice. Elbow's lovely on the handbrake here. That's quite nice. Gear stick's not a million miles away from the steering wheel. Elbow's lovely. I'm not getting blown to pieces. I like it. So nice. It's a nice little comfy ride. Nice comfortable differential in this car as well. Like not a whiny diff at all. There's no overrun on it. It's just ever so quiet. Whistles. That fits well. Hopefully you can see that. We've got a surround at the bottom here underneath the dashboard. This is a surround for the fog light, and that's a dimmer switch for the what do you call that? Dashboard gauges. Dimmer switch. So hopefully you can see that. That is a dimmer switch for the gauges and the fog light from the Mazda. And they're both fitted in there, and we just basically bond in a panel, and the switches just fit straight into the panel, so it just makes it really easy for you to use the stock standard wiring harness. Like all RX5s, really turns in well, really does. Brakes are good. Nice pedal feel. Really, really quite a comfortable pedal feel in that. Beautiful little cruiser. Really nice.